The video shows a worker performing general cleaning or maintenance duties in an industrial setting. As the worker approaches a storage area, there is a large, heavy, cylindrical or spherical metal object resting on the floor. Crucially, this object was not properly chocked, secured, or blocked to prevent rolling. Just as the worker came into close proximity, the unsecured load suddenly began to roll and tipped over, striking and pinning the worker. It is mandatory to safely chock, lock, or secure all heavy, round, or unstable materials to ensure their complete immobility, even during routine tasks. Workers must never enter the line of fire, the area of potential impact around unsecured loads. This incident highlights that failure to employ basic load stabilization methods can lead to sudden, severe crush or impact accidents. The video documents a severe construction site incident involving a large road roller or compactor actively working. A worker was operating or walking in an area far too close to the heavy machinery's active movement radius. Due to a critical lack of awareness, failure to maintain the required safe distance, and the equipment operator's severely limited field of vision, blind spots, the worker was unexpectedly caught and struck by the heavy steel drum of the moving roller. It is mandatory to establish and strictly respect a safe working perimeter or clear zone around all active heavy equipment, like compactors, rollers, and excavators. Workers are strictly prohibited from walking or performing tasks within the swing or turning radius of moving machinery. Utilizing dedicated spotters who maintain visual contact with both the operator and the crew, along with maintaining high situational awareness, is absolutely essential to prevent devastating contact accidents. The footage reveals 3 workers attempting a high-risk task, using a small, handheld cutting tool to cut into a large, closed metal container, possibly a gas or fuel storage tank, gas fuel containment drum. Crucially, they proceeded without specialized heavy equipment or safety precautions designed for hot work on potentially pressurized vessels. Suddenly, the container ignited or experienced a rapid pressure release, causing a loud detonation that violently launched the container a significant distance. Fortunately, the workers reacted quickly and were able to avoid direct impact. Strictly prohibit any hot work, grinding, or cutting on closed containers that may have held flammable materials or be pressurized. Always use certified cold cutting methods, completely purge the container of all residue and vapors, and vent any internal pressure before beginning work. This incident demonstrates the catastrophic danger of uncontrolled pressure release and the necessity of specialized safety protocols for container handling. The video captures a dangerous moment where a worker was operating near a lifting device or crane used to raise or position a heavy, cylindrical component or casing. Alarmingly, during the lift or transit, the component slipped or detached from the lifting apparatus due to an apparent failure in the rigging or an unsecured attachment. The heavy load subsequently fell uncontrollably to the floor in the immediate vicinity of the working area, and the impact forcefully threw the nearby worker backward. It is mandatory to use certified and thoroughly inspected rigging hardware and techniques before every single lift. Working or walking within the fall zone beneath a suspended load is strictly prohibited. Ensuring that loads are securely, stably, and redundantly anchored is the absolute defense against catastrophic dropped material incidents and severe impact injuries. The video documents a severe incident occurring during a fuel transfer or liquid product pumping operation involving a tanker truck. Alarming footage shows that while this process with highly flammable liquids was underway, a sudden fire erupted in the immediate vicinity of the transfer connections. It appears that fuel vapors ignited due to an uncontrolled ignition source, such as static electricity or an unmanaged heat source. The resulting flames quickly spread and threatened the entire tanker truck and the surrounding area. Strict adherence to procedures for grounding, bonding, and static electricity control is mandatory when handling or transferring flammable liquids. All sources of ignition, including open flames, sparks, and uncertified electrical equipment, must be strictly excluded from the transfer zone. Emergency fire suppression equipment must be readily accessible, and all personnel involved must be highly trained to execute immediate and safe response procedures in the event of a fire emergency. The video records a devastating incident where a large mobile crane was actively engaged in lifting a heavy load. Alarmingly, the crane abruptly lost its stability and began to tilt severely. This failure was likely caused by either lifting a load that grossly exceeded the crane's safe working capacity, as outlined in the load chart, or by failing to properly deploy the outriggers on a stable surface. The result was the complete collapse of the entire crane structure, causing a massive construction site accident. Strict adherence to the crane's load chart is mandatory. Never lift a weight that exceeds the certified capacity at the given radius. It is strictly forbidden to operate lifting equipment without fully and correctly deploying all stabilizing outriggers on firm, level ground. Equipment stability is not optional. It is an absolute requirement to prevent catastrophic overturning events and subsequent property damage. The video documents a severe incident inside a large warehouse or industrial facility where two forklifts were operating in the same area. Alarmingly, both operators failed to maintain adequate situational awareness or adhere to internal traffic regulations. The outcome was a significant collision between the two forklifts at an intersection or blind corner. The force of the impact caused a large, tall stack of unstable cargo on one of the trucks to lose stability and collapse violently onto the surrounding floor space. Forklift operators are strictly required to maintain safe speeds, sound the horn at all intersections and blind spots, and continuously perform 360-degree observation. Operating equipment with obstructed visibility or a lapse in attention is strictly forbidden. Strict compliance with internal traffic and safety protocols is essential to prevent equipment collisions and catastrophic product fall incidents. The video records a severe traffic incident where a large semi-trailer truck was traveling on a highway during wet, rainy, or slippery road conditions. Alarmingly, due to speed inappropriate for the slick road surface, the truck operator lost control, causing the vehicle to hydroplane, skid, and ultimately jackknife when the trailer swings sharply toward the cab. This catastrophic loss of control resulted in the vehicle colliding violently and spinning uncontrollably. Commercial vehicle operators must significantly reduce speed when encountering adverse weather, especially rain or ice. Sudden or aggressive braking and steering maneuvers are strictly forbidden on slick roads, as these actions are the primary cause of hydroplaning and the complete loss of control over a heavy load. Defensive driving and increasing following distances are essential practices to maintain safety and prevent serious road incidents. The video captures a terrifying moment of a natural disaster occurring in a residential area situated near a steep hill or rocky slope. A massive, heavy boulder or rock formation suddenly and violently rolled downhill at a high speed. The momentum caused the rock to impact and tear through a nearby residential building, resulting in severe structural damage. Fortunately, an elderly resident inside the house was able to react instantaneously and move quickly away from the immediate impact zone just moments before the collision. The core lesson here is critical. Residents living in areas prone to rockfalls, landslides, or steep terrain must maintain constant vigilance for warning signs, especially following heavy rainfall or seismic activity. Knowing and practicing evacuation routes and being prepared to rapidly shelter or evacuate when disaster warnings are issued is essential for protecting individuals and families from sudden and catastrophic natural events. The video captures an extremely high-risk action where an individual used an open flame to manually test the flammability of a material, which appears to be a roll of foam or insulating product. Immediately upon the small flame making contact, the material reacted with extreme intensity, igniting fiercely and rapidly producing a massive plume of thick, dense smoke. The person conducting the test was visibly overwhelmed by the sudden speed and severity of the fire and smoke burst. It is strictly prohibited to conduct burn tests on potentially flammable materials without certified personal protective equipment, PPE, adequate ventilation, and readily available fire suppression equipment. Many common construction and packaging materials are highly combustible and capable of generating dangerous toxic smoke. Strictly controlling ignition sources and properly identifying material hazards are non-negotiable requirements to prevent rapid onset fire emergencies.